Ice, bowl to win. And by Dexter. And by Kegel. And we are here at Grand Central Terminal. Mike J. Laneside is with three-time Team USA member Elise Bolton. Mike J., what is going on?
Jason Thomas, thank you very much and welcome a worldwide audience to Grand Central Terminal. I'm Mike J. Laneside and I'm with a brand new Extra Frame reporter. She competed here at Grand Central last year and now working behind the scenes as our sideline reporter, three-time member of Team USA. Welcome Elise Bolton to Grand Central once again.
Thank you, it's great to be here.
We've got an unbelievable competition coming your way, the first of 15 head-to-head matches, and we have an exciting match at the top. Our tournament top-seeded Kamron Doyle is getting to face the number 4 seed, Yuratovich.
I think it'll be a great match. These guys seem to be good friends. They have good chemistry, so I think it'll be fun to watch and see who wins.
It's going to be definitely fun to watch, and another thing to look for is the competitors are limited to the choice of their strike balls.
It definitely makes the competition a lot harder. The best bowler will come to the top. They got to make the right ball decision, make sure they make the best shots that they can, because they don't really have another choice to go to.
Well, we are going to hear from Elise and our opening combatants. $64,000 scholarship on the line. We'll award that tomorrow live right here in Midtown Manhattan at Grand Central Terminal. We're glad you're here either at the terminal or with us live around the world on Extra Frame. Bowling Guy, back to you.
Thank you very much, Mike J. And practice is currently underway, as the two of my esteemed colleagues mentioned. Kamron Doyle, the number 1 seed, will be facing the number 4 seed, Yuratovich, in this opening round-robin match. Each of the bowlers will bowl each other once. There are 4 qualifiers in the boys division and 4 in the girls. So we'll have 3 matches for each player. There's Yuratovich warming up. Looks like they're going to be bowling on the short pattern. Kamron Doyle has selected that. That's the choice of the higher seed. So they're going to be bowling on the short pattern for this match. There's 2 patterns to choose from, the long or the short. And Kamron actually had an interesting situation. He originally picked the long pattern, Mike J., and decided he didn't like what he was seeing and switched over to the short.
That's right. The number 1 seed gets the choice of pattern, either long or short, and Doyle warmed up on the long, didn't like what he saw, and switched over, as is his right, as the higher seeded player, to get the short pattern. So now they're finishing up their practice on the short pattern. There's a great look at the venue here and our great overhead camera to show you the action here at Grand Central Terminal. Doyle versus Yuratovich as final practice shots are coming up. And we are glad you're with us here live on Extra Frame. We're in the middle of Manhattan at Grand Central Terminal, and that's Yuratovich, number 4 seed, bowling out of Olathe, Kansas. He's a member of the Olathe East High School, class of 2014, warming up. And in fact, let's meet Yuratovich.
I'm Yuratovich. I'm 16 years old and I'm from Olathe, Kansas. And I'm absolutely ecstatic to bowl in New York. I've been bowling since I was about 3. Everybody in our family bowls, so it's pretty much the family sport. This tournament attracts the best high school athlete bowlers in the country. And my mom was at home, and I called my mom when I got done, and she answered the phone normally, and I said, "We're going to New York," and in 2 seconds, she's in tears.
Very personable young man. Yuratovich, met him yesterday. He is an Extra Frame subscriber. He follows the action on the online bowling channel, and he said he hopes he gets the chance to fill in as an announcer, and we'll invite Aaron in when he's not competing at some point during today and tomorrow's proceedings. And there's a look at Kamron Doyle out of Brentwood, Tennessee. Bunch of medals earned at the recent Tournament of the Americas. The youngest ever to cash in a PBA regional. And the youngest ever to cash in a PBA major at the United States Open. So Doyle making the splash both in youth competition and on the PBA Tour national news stories as youngest ever to cash in a regional and the youngest ever to cash in a PBA major. So it's Yuratovich and Doyle. This is going to be best of 2 in our preliminary round matches. Best of 2 works like this. Bowl 2 games, and if you win both, you win the match and earn your point. If you split, it'll go to a sudden death roll-off to decide the match. Best of 2 in all of our preliminary round competition. At the end of the 12 head-to-head matches, we'll have a winner in our boys and girls divisions who will go on to the overall boys and girls championships, the number 1 and 2 seeds. And then beyond that, the top boy and the top girl will meet for our grand championship tomorrow here live on the online bowling channel. And a look at Kamron Doyle warming up here just outside 42nd Street. Look to the left there. You walk right out. You can grab some street meat, Jason Thomas, get a hot dog here as the lunchtime crowd is spilling into Grand Central.
Well, we will be doing that on our little break that we have here coming up in a while. There's a couple of choice carts to choose from, like Jay.
There are. There are.
But look at Kamron's strategy here. He's using a very interesting strategy for breaking the lanes down. He's throwing the ball very slow with a high rev rate, and he's trying to maximize how much oil he can chew up. He's very versed at setting the lanes up for what he likes to see. So it looks like Kamron's got the look he's liking, and now he's throwing regular shots. He's trying to get lined up. They're almost done with practice here, and he's legitimately trying to throw some shots now to see where he's going to play once this match gets underway here shortly. So as I mentioned, everybody will bowl each other one match, and the championships in each the boys and the girls division will be determined by match play record. So players will each bowl 3 matches against each of the other competitors, and based on match play record, that is who will advance to the finals. So what will happen is one player will be 3-0, another player will be 0-3, then there'll be 2 players at 2-1. Or some other variation of records, and based on record, that is who will advance to the final. And then the boys and the girls winner will bowl each other for a $64,000 college scholarship, Mike J.
Well, Elise Bolton is going to corral our combatants, and we will hear from them before we get to our opening match. And Elise is getting them into position, and we are almost ready here to begin. And let's send it down lane side with Elise Bolton. Go, Elise.
Thanks, Mike. I'm here with Cam and Aaron. Earlier I talked to them. They both told me this is their first time here in New York. So what's it like being here in New York and getting to bowl right here in Vanderbilt Hall?
I think it's pretty interesting. I mean, I've never been to New York, and I'm not a heights person, so it's been pretty nerve-wracking couple of days going up in the Empire State Building and everything.
It's a lot different than what you would expect. You got to adapt to the environment and just work your way through it.
So you guys nervous?
I was the first shot. I almost fell over the first shot, but now it's okay.
Not really. I'm trying to calm myself down.
All right, so Kamron, being number 1 seed, got to pick the lane pattern. What pattern did you pick?
Pick the short.
And any reason?
I had a better look in practice, and hopefully I can throw 3 or 4 in a row to beat my opponent.
How do you feel about the lane pattern choice?
Well, throughout practice, it didn't really matter. I mean, I had okay looks with both balls, so it's just going to be kind of whoever makes better shots.
All right, well, good luck to both of you. Back to you, Mike.
Thank you, Elise. And we are ready for action here at Grand Central Terminal. Top seed, Kamron Doyle, and 4th seeded Aaron Yuratovich. Best of 2 game competition. And we We are glad that you are with us here live on the online bowling channel. We've got 8 matches for you today, boys and girls action. And here we go. Number 1 seed is elected to begin the match. And here we go, live from 42nd Street, Midtown Manhattan. Opening shot from Kamron Doyle. Whoa, that one finds the ditch. That's a tough way to start, Elise.
Yeah, that's surprising actually coming from Kamron. He didn't seem nervous at all during practice. So maybe that first shot he just needed to get his nerves out.
That'll do it.
Realistically, that's the best, your first frame you want to have that. So he can spare it up, and it's the same as having 9 spare.
Well, there's a similar situation that occurred at an extra frame event where Scott Newell had the same thing happen to him on the opening shot. He went on to win the tournament, so perhaps Kamron remembers that occasion. So open frame begins for Doyle. And now our first look at Aaron Yuratovich. Might help his first shot a little bit to have that happen to his opponent.
Definitely a great time to take advantage of this right now. Having it open from Kamron is a big deal right now.
Best of 2 games are just getting started here. Live coverage of the Teen Masters Grand Championships. This is our opening match. Aaron Yuratovich and Kamron Doyle. Doyle opens in the first, and now here's Yuratovich opening shot. Comes up a bit high, 6-10. Of course, the footing here, interesting. What did you see in terms of the footing during practice?
Footing, as in...
Was it slippery? Was it sticky?
They all seem to be sliding a little bit more than normal. They were trying to lick the bottom of their shoes or something just so they weren't sliding as much.
Spare conversion for Yuratovich, and Yuratovich is on the board with a slash. Mike J. Laneside and a member of Team USA, Elise Bolton, as we join you for the 2012 Teen Masters Grand Championships. We're glad you're watching live on Extra Frame. And now Kamron Doyle is back up. Look at the big arm swing there on Doyle. And a strike.
A lot better shot than his first shot.
What was the difference?
He just seemed more relaxed. His arm swing just seemed to be like what it normally was. His first one just seemed to be a little bit tight, and obviously it paid off.
So now single lane configuration. The players will swap every other shot.
Now what's interesting about bowling on 1 lane is that the 1 lane is going to break down a lot more than when you're bowling on 2 pairs, where you have 2 lanes to break down.
Yuratovich up in the second, working the spare, and hey, about a late fall to 7 pin. First strike of the day. Doyle opening channel ball. And a 9 count. And finds the pocket. Little adjustment out of Doyle. So spare and a strike, third frame for Yuratovich. as Doyle has put up a double on the board after the open frame in the first. And down goes the 10-pin. And a double for Yuratovich. Got to be a good feeling to get that first double off your hand in such a unique environment. What was it like to compete here?
For me, like I said about the one lane, that was tough. Just, having those people so close to you, the stands, and the people so close to behind you, it's really, you just got to block it out. It's different.
Rides the rail, does Doyle. And a turkey on the board.
Something I noticed about Kamron while I was practicing is that he sticks his tongue out when he's in his backswing. And that's really funny.
It's Michael Jordan-like. Now Yuratovich. Class of 2014 at Olathe East High School. Fourth frame, he's got a spare and a double. Working here in our opening best of two against Doyle. Caves in the rack. Sends the bucket to the left wall, so spare turkey now for Yuratovich. And an 11-pin lead as we enter the fifth frame. Live at Grand Central Terminal, just outside 42nd Street here, New York, New York. And you can see the commuters walking left and right. To the left is 42nd Street. To the right is Grand Central Terminal, where that big gold clock is.
Yeah.
Here's Doyle in the fifth. Hey, a little break on the 10-pin. So a tough start. Now a ham bone on the board for Mr. Doyle.
Definitely got more relaxed after that first shot.
You see Yuratovich there going with the shoe brush. It's a little warm in here.
I was going to say, one of the hardest things to deal with for me last year was the fact that there's no hand dryer. You can't dry your hand off, and it is warm in here.
So opening best of two, Doyle's got a 9 open and then 4-bagger, and now Yuratovich spare 3-bagger, looking to match ham bones here in the fifth frame. Oh, and right back at you for Yuratovich. Now, it seems that that's not nerves, but those guys are really riding a large outside angle, so there's not a lot of margin for error out there.
No, they don't. Even when they're hitting the mark, their ball is a little bit over the gutter. So anything missed to the right is going to be in the gutter. He seemed to miss it off his hand because it did go in the gutter pretty early, rather than down lane where Kamron was.
And a 6-count open. Interesting break there, and not a good one. Split for Doyle. That looked like some squirrely pinfall.
Yeah.
So open frame for Doyle.
Funny thing about that shot is I had heard Kamron say about his bowling balls that he had been leaving a lot of 8-10s during the week in Ohio. So it's interesting that he just did that.
So 125 through 6 open for Doyle. 14-pin, rather a 13-pin advantage over this man, Aaron Yuratovich, number 4 seed. Each player has had a couple of strikes put together, and each player has found the channel here at Grand Central Terminal. It's a best-of-2 match. In the event the players split the first 2 games, we'll have a sudden death roll-off to determine the winner. Flush! A nice recovery.
Definitely.
So Yuratovich 92 through 5 strike up in the 6th. And Kamron Doyle now up after the open. 13-pin lead here in game number 1. Our opening best of 2 in our live coverage of the Teen Masters Grand Championships. Great angle here on the game shot, as you can really see the angle of attacking right at the pocket.
Like I said earlier about only having 2 balls, even after leaving that A10, you don't have much of a choice but to stay with the same ball and just make a better shot.
There is that Jordan tongue and tattoos at 10. Mike J. Laneside with a 3-time member of Team USA, Elise Bolton, here live in New York City at the Teen Masters Grand Championships. Our opening match coming up next year live on Extra Frame. We'll have our first look at our girls division, and number 1 seed Ashley Dunn will face Melanie Hannon next here in a best of 2 live on Extra Frame. We'll have 8 best of 2s for you today. So 6-10 there for Yuratovich. Looking to double there to cut the lead to single pins. Good pickup. How difficult are spares?
Spares are tough. You just got to be on your game. Can't miss. I noticed last year I missed a spare in one of the final games, and I thought I had it, and the lane just picks up here. Especially with the heat, the oil is gone pretty quickly.
As Kamron backs off, we've got commuters coming in left and right from 42nd and Grand Central being seated here. Our opening match. And Doyle with a lead over Aaron Yuratovich. Flat 10-6 wanted to get there but didn't. So with a spare, Doyle will lead by 12 pins. 8th frame here in our opening match. And there is the spare. Boy, he's really on those 10 pins. What's the key to making a 10 pin?
Following through. Definitely the best key that I think.
Yuratovich coming into this match didn't seem too concerned with facing the overall number 1 seed.
He seemed fairly relaxed. I mean, Cameron's a big competitor. He has been in any tournament he's bowled in, and he seemed pretty relaxed. But I feel like that's a part of his personality.
I do. I met Aaron last night, and he's got plenty of personality. You can just kind of see that little smirk. Kick on the 10. Strike. You heard him say yes. He must have liked it right at the release.
It looked good off his hand. It was one of those shots that you just know it's going to strike. You just got to hope the 10-pin falls, especially right now.
So Doyle's up 144 in the 7th. Spare up. 12-pin lead. Solid. 6 kicks the 10. And 12-pin lead in the 9th for Kamron Doyle. And the folks behind Kamron gathered here at Grand Central Terminal. We're in Vanderbilt Hall, just outside the main room. You know that area that everybody knows with the big gold clock in it and that crazy guy that did the flash mob dance? That's just to the right of where Aaron is right now. Opening match, opening game. Yuratovich trying to get on the board against Doyle. He trails by 12 pins. 9th frame. That comes up high, 3, 6, and a 10. Is it time to switch a ball if you consistently go high, or is it time to adjust your angle of attack?
Depending on what people are good at, personally, I would change a hand position. Maybe get up on the lane, step your feet up a little earlier, depending on what works for them. But because of the angle they're playing, I feel like it's more of a physical adjustment than lane play.
Spare for Yuratovich. And we enter the 10th frame. 12-pin Doyle lead, best of 2 opener here. Man, first match, you sure want to get off to a start and get a win.
Definitely.
Got a bit of debris on the lane. We've got a shutout situation here. Doyle can step up and put away Yuratovich here in game 1. Oh, big split. 3, 4, 6, 7, 10. Makeable though. And makeable it is. Doyle converts the 3, 4, 6, 7, 10. And at least we have our first big shot of this Teen Masters Grand Championships. Fill ball coming. 204 is the best that Doyle can do. Rides it on the outside. 204 opening game for Kamron Doyle. And that's enough, as the best Yuratovich can shoot is 202.
The last shot was that carry. He needed it.
The split and the carry is enough. So Doyle goes up 1-0, and now the game's over, but Mr. Yuratovich can fish around a little bit and see what he can accomplish in game 2. See how he attacks it. A couple of free balls, information shots here. Ball coming up consistently high. So Kamron Doyle takes a 1-0 lead in his best of 2 matchup against Yuratovich. Elects to choose to shoot the spare, so that means he'll get one more shot to test the waters. So 191 for Yuratovich. And Elise, why don't we send you down lane side and get a quick interview before we get into game 2. Game number 1 goes to Doyle. 204, 191. As we continue the action here at Grand Central Terminal. And Elise Bolton is heading down to talk with Kamron Doyle. Elise, go ahead.
Wasn't that much nervous. I think I just threw a bad shot and then got comfortable, threw a good shot, left 10 pin, threw 4 in a row. Then I just needed a strike to lock it up in the 9th frame, and I got 5. I thought it was pretty much done. So I just threw the spare ball. I didn't really try to make it actually, and I got lucky. Then I had to get 8 or 9 to lock him out, and I did it. So.
Well, getting lucky with that spare definitely helped you win that match. It locked you up. The carry in the 10th gave you the win. What are you going to do? Anything different for the second match?
Just going to do the same thing, try to make my spares, and hopefully just stay 1 pin ahead of my opponent.
Back to you.
Thank you, Elise. And you heard from the man, up 1-0. So the best of 2 continues. Interesting comments from Kamron Doyle, winner here in game 1. Glad you're watching this live coverage. We got best of 2 matches for you all day today. Boys and girls divisions. After 12 head-to-head best of 2 matchups, we'll have a first and a second seed who will move on to the boys and girls championships tomorrow, and then we'll have an overall boy versus girl match for a $64,000 scholarship. Just getting started here. A lane has been constructed at Grand Central Terminal in Vanderbilt Hall in New York City. And now game number 2, opening shot for Yuratovich. The perfect start. .204, 191 winner in game 1. Here's Doyle. Take a step off here as folks are being seated.
Something seems to be a distraction on the side for Kamron.
As we mentioned, the commuter is walking back and forth between 42nd Street and the station, right behind Doyle. Opening shot, game 2. And we've got a strike apiece. Each player looking to get a win on the board, as each boy and each girl will face every other competitor for a total of 3 head-to-head matches, and the top 2 players will advance to the championship match tomorrow. Coming up next, it'll be girls division action. Number 1 seeded Ashley Dunn out of Palmdale, California will face Melanie Hannon out of Cheektowaga, New York, the number 4 seed. Each player with a strike in game 2, and Yuratovich down a game, needs to cash in here to force a roll-off for the match. Crossover and a 9-10 split. open frame for Doyle. Now back over to Yuratovich. He's got a double and a lead here. Needs this game 2 to force the roll-off for the match. These are best of 2. If the players split a game, there'll be a sudden death roll-off to determine the match, and you win a point for your match. All the preliminary round matches will be best of 2, with the number 1 and 2 finishers overall advancing to the championship match here tomorrow at Grand Central Terminal. Hope you join us tomorrow. Action starts at 9 a.m. Eastern Time on your online bowling channel. Boom. What's the difference between Yuratovich game 1 and now Yuratovich game 2?
Definitely using a lot more excitement. I feel like he's probably trying to get into Cameron's head right now to get a little advantage and get into, hopefully Cameron makes a mistake. That's what he's thinking that.
Doyle, the youngest ever to cash in a PBA regional and the youngest ever to cash in a PBA major. As we battle for a $64,000 college scholarship, at least someone tomorrow is going to be able to tell mom and dad, hey, we don't have to worry about paying for college.
It's a good thing.
And what's going on at Nebraska these days?
I actually get to bowl next fall, hopefully. I'm excited. Had to sit out last semester, got to practice with the team, so I'm just excited to get there and be a part of the team.
That's 3-time Team USA member Elise Bolton. This is Mike J. Laneside, and we're glad you're with us here live on Extra Frame as we come at you live from Midtown Manhattan today. Team Masters Grand Championships. Double wood conversion for Kamron Doyle. So advantage Yuratovich here in this best of 2 opening match.
It's interesting that Cameron hooked at that because I know he was talking about when he on short, he normally throws straight at it, just to not have as much mistake.
A little bowling ball maintenance. Affable young man, as I mentioned, met him last night. He's an Extra Frame subscriber. Likes to watch the great action. Greatest bowlers in the world, the best events, the coolest venues. And we're glad you follow along with us. Follow along on Twitter as well. You see that hashtag upper right-hand corner, hashtag Teen Masters. Share your thoughts about today's competition. Strike for Yuratovich. And a lead here in game number 2. He needs to win this game to force a roll-off for the match, as you get a look at the folks coming and going during the lunch hour here in New York City. And we are truly in Grand Central Terminal. Cameron waits for a couple of folks to take their seats. Folks arriving here. We've got competition all day. This is just the first of our 8 preliminary round matches. That ball comes up high. Splitsville for Doyle with the 3, the 6, the 7, and the 10. An open frame and the door wide open now for Aaron Yuratovich. And the open and closing of doors. That's 42nd Street right out there. And I'm told that you had trouble finding 42nd Street this morning.
Yeah, I asked the guy on my way out of the hotel, and he told me to go right, and that was like complete opposite. So then I tried to look on my GPS card directions, and that didn't really help. So I ended up running into Greg Young's mom and his coach just on the street corner and found my way with them. So I got lucky and found them.
Do you know the long odds of that in a city of this many millions?
That's why it was funny. His coach was like, well, that's funny because there's not that many people out here. But I literally just turned around, there they are. And I was like, thank the Lord.
Here's Yuratovich trying to even things up here on our opening best of 2. And we'll get a reset. And very easy to understand. There's folks coming and going, and you faced it last year. It's part of the environment. You got to find a way to get used to it.
Definitely, especially because when you're so close to the behind where people are, you can hear them talking. You can feel them breathing on you, really.
That is the best line of the day, and it really puts you right in the shoes of those players. Not only the pressure of competition, but the pressure of the surroundings as well.
Definitely.
Orpin could have stuck around, but it does not strike for Yuratovich, and now Yuratovich in the driver's seat in game 2.
Aaron seems to have made an adjustment on his speed. He does seem to be throwing a little bit faster to get the ball down the lane a bit more. It's working.
Doyle's got 53 open through 4. And now a bucket, so the look that Doyle had is evaporated for the moment. Cleaned up on the 2-8 here earlier. Let's see if he cracks it the same way. Spare for Doyle. So 5-bagger for Yuratovich in the driver's seat as we look at the folks assembled here at Grand Central Terminal. It's just amazing to know that 750,000 people walk in and out here every day. And we've got bowling fans stopping by to check out the action. We've got the New York commuters and the lunch crowd stopping by to see what's going on here in Vanderbilt Hall. And we're glad you're with us as well here live on Extra Frame. Teen Masters Grand Championships just getting started. Aaron Yuratovich is down a game to Kamron Doyle, and he's got a 5-bagger and a big lead here in game 2. There's a look at Sean Doyle, Cameron's dad. Moral support here, the Doyle family. Checking things out from behind here at Grand Central Terminal. And now we got a reset. Yuratovich is back. Front 5, big lead, looking for more, looking to even things up here in game 2. 7 falls. So the string of strikes is over, but still a big lead for Yuratovich, down a game, looking to even things up and force the roll-off for our first match.
No, he hasn't shot a spare in about 5 frames, so he really needs to take his time and make sure he makes his spare.
Confident stroke. Spare for Yuratovich and a big lead here in game 2. At what point do you give up the ghost and start planning your strategy for a potential roll-off?
I think, I don't know, Kamron still has a chance to come back. You never know what could happen, but I feel like he does need to maybe take a chance and find something else.
Like that?
Yes.
So Doyle strikes, and you see the human pin spotters down there. I mean, that's a different look for folks.
I did that back in '09 when Danielle McEwen won. I got the chance to do that. It was fun. It's hard work, though. Those guys are working.
So Yuratovich is up, big lead here in game 2. And as we mentioned, the playing surface is going to be a constant concern. A little bit warm in here and a little bit humid on a summer afternoon in New York. And no hand dryer. So after the spare, Yuratovich up. That was what we call high flush. Pretty hit for Yuratovich. Doyle's got 73 through 5 and a strike up. That one crosses over. And a baby split. So that's not the envy of any bowler. Spare conversion, though, is to have that alternate bucket split look.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, Doyle cleans up the spare. Yuratovich 159 through 6 strike up. Big lead here in game 2. Needs it to force a roll-off for our first match of the day. Each player will get a break after this match. We turn to girls action next. But first, game 2 and a potential roll-off. Yuratovich toes the line. Now Yuratovich has got a nice look, and Kamron is fishing.
I would say this is about the time where Kamron really needs to just make a big move and find something.
What would you suggest? What are the options here?
Seems I would probably try the other ball. It's always the one thing that you never thought would work that works.
Way outside over the channel and brings it back home. So Yuratovich in control, 7 of 8 strikes. And a 76-pin lead here in game 2. Looking to force the roll-off, but more importantly, looking to keep his line to the pocket intact. They're bowling on the short oil pattern, which was chosen by Kamron Doyle, the higher seed. As the good citizens of New York join us here at Grand Central Terminal. 9th frame. And a wiggle on a 4-pin. See tournament founder Gary Beck just off the right shoulder, and Gary Beck puts on one heck of a bowling event, doesn't he?
Yes, he does. He does a lot for the youth.
Also challenging the players this year, a 2-ball rule, just 2 pieces of equipment to choose from on your strike ball.
It's tough.
It's a 4-pin conversion for Yuratovich. Back over to Doyle as we wrap up game 2 and a potential roll-off. The players have a choice between the Ebonite Pursuit and the Ebonite Cyclone as the only strike balls, and you can only bring 1 plastic ball for your spares, and you can only use it for spares. Oh, solid 8. But looks like Doyle has found another line to the pocket.
Definitely. Now it's just about getting that ball to carry.
There's Sean right behind Kamron, just off the right shoulder.
Kamron used that ball as an information shot.
You bet. Another 8-pin gives you another crack at the pocket shot.
Definitely.
And especially now that Yuratovich fully in control here in game 2. And now Aaron also has a little bit of time to make some adjustments. 10th frame for Yuratovich. Spare and a fill puts him in the 240s. One more information ball. Where do you stand on the subject of roll-offs? Do you prefer to start or you prefer to go second?
I prefer to go second. I like the pressure. I feel like that person needs to go up there and make a good shot to beat you, and you just got to go up there and make a good shot. But I would definitely rather go second, knowing what I need, and just do what you do.
So a little bit of fiddle time as Yuratovich will get one more shot here. He's in the 240s. He's going to beat Kamron Doyle and even this match at a game apiece. And we'll stand by for an announcement from Tournament Director Gary Beck on the roll-off. So 245 is the number for Yuratovich here, striking back in game 2. Now Doyle has his 10th frame to build on whatever he has learned in the last couple of frames. Seven pin, and he'll be in the 170s. But more importantly, at least our first roll off here in our first best of 2 match. Kamron Doyle, the higher seed, will get the choice to start or to finish. And now one more ball, as he's already no doubt planning his strategy.
Looks like he made a ball change back to the other one.
And that one coming up high as well. So we're going to have a roll-off in our first best of 2 match, even at a game apiece. And here's Tournament Director Gary Beck.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that leaves our first match tied 1-1. Kamron Doyle from Brentwood, Tennessee, won game 1. Aaron Yuratovich from Olathe, Kansas, won game 2. We now move to sudden death. It will be 1 ball until the tie is broken. Kamron, you'll have choice of bowling first or second. Kamron Doyle will lead off. 1 ball, sudden death until the tie is broken.
And there we have it. Sudden death in our first matchup, and Doyle the leadoff. Winner puts a point on the board, and it comes down to sudden death. And a strike for Kamron Doyle. Aaron Yuratovich back against the wall.
Now Kamron took the strategy of putting the pressure on him, so now he knows he has to make the best possible shot he can.
Aaron Yuratovich, a loser in game 1, even things up in game 2. Now down a strike in the sudden death roll-off, needs to strike to stay alive for the point here. Opening match, Team Masters Grand Championships, first of 12 preliminary head-to-head matches. Strike to extend the roll-off. Anything less, Kamron Doyle wins his first match. Strike apiece. The roll-off goes on. Calm, cool, pressure shot.
That was a great shot.
Game on. Sudden death roll-off. Doyle won the first game, 204-191. Yuratovich struck back 245, 171, and now a strike apiece in sudden death. Here's Doyle, round 2. And the gentleman be striking.
Looks like he found a line.
Hey, as Al Pacino said, we're just getting started around here. This is just our first match. Fireworks already. Kamron Doyle's got 2 strikes on the board. He's put Aaron Yuratovich in a position where he must strike to extend the roll-off.
I think Kamron just wanted to make this an exciting match.
He did. The kid just kind of brings excitement with him, doesn't he?
He does. He is a funny kid. Sometimes I forget he's 14 because he is definitely mature for his age.
That's scary to do what he has done in both youth and adult competition, cashing in PBA regionals, cashing at the U.S. Open, and now forcing Yuratovich to strike. Round 2 roll-off. Winner wins the first point. Oh yeah! Double and a double. And an exciting opening match between Kamron Doyle and Aaron Yuratovich. Opening best of 2 here. Team Masters Grand Championships. Mike J. Lane's side with Team USA member Elise Bolton. And we are excited to bring you this live coverage from Grand Central Terminal in New York, New York. Double apiece, game apiece. Nothing has been decided. Round 3 in the roll-off. And comes up a bit high, 4-pin. First blink of the sudden death. Now hammer in hand. Strike to defeat the tournament leader, high seed. Nothing Doyle can do here but watch. Now Yuratovich. Opening. 9 to extend the roll-off. Strike to claim the first point of this Team Masters Grand Championships. Anything less, Doyle earns the point. Gave it a little more juice, and the difference is the 4-pin.
Yeah, it came up high, and he got lucky and tripped the 4.
So Yuratovich on the board, first point. Up into the stands, family to congratulate, and we have fireworks right from the get-go.
I'm sure he's feeling pretty good. He got to defeat Kamron. That's a pretty big accomplishment right there in its own.
So Kamron Doyle has been defeated here. Aaron Yuratovich earns the first point. And we have more action coming up from the Team Masters here at Grand Central Terminal. We will keep rolling for you and set up for our next match. Coming up next, it will be number 1 seed Ashley Dunn on the girls' side of the draw, Palmdale, California, versus the number 4 seed Melanie Hannon out of Cheektowaga, New York. And that will come up next live on Extra Frame.